Hello guys! So, it's finally this time again where I can actually do a deck profile in real life not only, but also with new cards. And this deck profile will be about White Knight Turbo Necroz, but we actually have some more support so we can do more funny things. Anyways, you already see one of the cards that we're going to play. And this is also adapted for the ban list because the ban list will come out approximately when this deck becomes legal. So, yeah, sadly, there are some things that we have to change. But first of all, let's do the eternally correct triple unicorn, triple brio. I have tried to cut this guy to two. I changed my mind. I was seeing if the new cards would actually cause Necroz to matter a little less, but Brionac is still a very good card. And one Clausulas. Also, if you really feel like it, you could also play another Clausulas and a Trish and Mirror. But I do not feel like it. Eldritch may be a matchup that is coming out around a lot. It is very nice that Imperial Order is finally gone from the format, but Skill Drain is still a card, and the question is it worth it to play against a lot of Eldritch and main Trishula against them if they have Skill Drain? Maybe it is, maybe it isn't. It is a very philosophical question. Now for our other ritual monsters. White Knight. He is one of the most important cards of the deck, as you may be aware if you played this version. There is also a new play that I found out about him that actually existed for a while, but I wasn't aware of that you could do with him, and I'll get to it when I get to the rest of the Dogmatika engine. And Master Duel actually taught me that play. White Knight and our new addition to our ritual lineup, White Relic of Dogmatika. Why did they not have to call it White Exalted? I would have been a really happy boy because I or at least was a Path of Exile player. But about what she does, this card reads, if she's summoned, you target two monsters on the field. You can target herself. You can target opponent's monsters. And she will take the attack of one of those monsters and add it onto the other monster. So what often happens is that we have a unicorn on field when we summon her. So we summon her. We summon it. We already have a unicorn. So now we have two options. We target her and unicorn, first of all, and then we can decide to give her the attack of unicorn, which means she would be 2800 attack, because 500 plus 2300 is 2800. Or we can make our unicorn 2800, therefore Mechaba can no longer beat over this. Therefore, we don't even worry too much about them making a Mechaba. The second thing that she does is monsters with Dogmatika in their name that are level 8 or higher, this one for example, cannot be destroyed by battle. So it technically is a possibility for him to be in attack position, but I still would not say that you do that. Unless you want to poke for attack, you don't have to worry too much then about it, of people just summoning a monster, no effect, and running over it. And the third effect, and I still have to see how good it actually is, but it's an interruption in form of if your opponent special summons anything from the extra deck, you can look into his extra deck and loop one card out of it. So it's kind of like White Knight, only that it only affects your opponent. And this is pretty effective if they summon Verte Anaconda, because you can loop their target for Verte. And usually that is DPE. So that is actually hilarious. Also, there may be other decks where this effect is really good against. And generally, it just turbos more the playstyle of outgrinding your opponent because he does not have an extra deck. The most important thing about her is actually being level 4, so the ritual spell we already know, Dogmatic Calamity, can actually finally send Herald of the Arclight, which is great. Okay, so that covers the Dogmatika ritual monsters and the ritual monsters in general for this deck. But speaking about Dogmatika, we are playing triple because we need her, especially now with one of our changes. Then we play one Fleur because she is an extra interruption. And now I want to get to the play that you can do with her. White Knight and Fleur, what you can do if your opponent has like ended their turn and you still have the White Knight, and your opponent either has an extra deck monster or you have an extra deck monster, and you really want to go into the extra deck, what you can actually do is special summon Fleur and negate your own White Knight of Dogmatika, therefore negating the condition that says you cannot special summon from the extra deck while controlling him, which is great. Also, she does not have the condition of not being able to summon from extra deck, which we can technically use for a couple of neat plays. And we do not want to forget our Lord and Savior, Maximus, the actual evil guy of the Dogmatika universe. I hope he gets his ritual form in Dogmatika. It would be so cool to round everything up with him getting an actual ritual endgame boss form. But lore aside, Maximus is excellent. He is just like the final push. You can do so much damage to your opponent using him. And the last Dogmatika card that is not a spell card is Dogmatika Punishment, because we can search it. So now to the other monsters. You remember this, and this stays in the deck. This has proven itself, and it's worth so much, simply because this combo, you can play through hand traps, even if people negate your Herald, which is great, and even if your opponent negates the Diviner, you can still tribute her sometimes, because we play a lot of level 2s, and one of the level 2s, of course, being Cyber Egg Angel. This loves to be in my hand, and I somehow always manage to do something with it, because Almirage exists. And it searches, of course, Ritual Sanctuary, and Ritual Sanctuary is a great card. Then Ariel, the brick I don't want to draw. Driver, I don't know how many times I normal summoned him. And of course, Triple Gamma. It is sad that Master Duel only has 2 of those, but we are here in the TCG, and we can play Triple Gamma. And those are, as said, level 2s. And this is our only hand trap in the main deck. Good. So, now, spell cards. So we play 1, 2, 3. No, we don't play 3. We only play 2 in Nadir. It's tragic, but this deck still feels like Nadir is at 5, and every time when you resolve it, your opponent gets salty. But this card looks very similar to Nadir. This is the new ritual spell, Dogmatika Macabre, or the Dogmatika Macabre in German. And this card is if you had Kaleidoscope, Mirror, and Cycle, and took the best 3 things of those and mashed them together, and then nerfed them a little bit because otherwise it would just be too good. So what can this thing do? So first of all, this card mentions White Knight and White Relic of Dogmatika. So it is searchable off of pre-prep. And spoilers ahead, pre-prep is in the deck. You'll see the ratios in just a second. And the second thing is, this can summon from hand or graveyard. So this is a good top deck. But it gets even better. Because you can tribute from hand, field, or banish synchro or fusion monsters from your graveyard to summon a Dogmatika ritual monster whose level equals or exceeds, which makes it better than any Necroz spell, the level of the ritual summoned monster. So you can tribute a level 8 monster to summon a level 4 Dogmatika monster, which is great. And then the actual part where the White Knight and White Exalted is mentioned. If you control both White Knight and White Exalted of Dogmatika, you can either loop one of your cards in your extra deck to the graveyard, which is probably, it is a very big discussion point and very meta dependent. But you will loop one of your cards from the extra deck, or you can decide to look at your opponent's extra deck and then take one of their cards from their extra deck and put it into the graveyard. Depending against which deck you play, this is a very powerful effect because your opponent cannot do much more than to hand trap you to stop this, and this only indirectly stops this. Otherwise, this card is kind of hard to resolve, and I have a couple mixed feelings about it because I want to actually play this at 2, but I am not playing it at 2 due to space. And the other ritual spell is Dogmatic Calamity. As said, this is a kaleidoscope of Dogmatika, only that it locks you out of the extra deck, like Nadir does. Also, this card does not lock you out of the extra deck, fun fact. So, as said, you can actually summon from the extra deck if you use Dogmatika as a follow-up play. Now, to our third and fourth Nadir. Actually, this is kind of a budget bootleg Nadir. Pre-prep, we're playing it at 2 because at 3, it's too bricky. And adding Dogmatika plus any Dogmatika ritual monster itself does not do much more than +1. And it doesn't summon you anything. But in combination with other cards, it can get really powerful. And also this can add from graveyard your monsters, but not the spell, so careful. And that is why I actually want to play 2 Dogmatika or Dogmatika Macabre. Triple prep, this card is busted. Then these are usual. Kaleidoscope at 2 and Psycho at 1. If you wanted to play Trish, you could go ahead and play a Mirror and a Trish and brick your entire deck. Pot of Prosperity. Before I get to this, as said, if you really want to play Trish, you have my personal permission to play Trish. I just personally don't like him. Or I don't like him enough to put him in there. It's like a sad thing. Pot of Prosperity and 2 triple tactics talents. This card punishes very well into your opponent because you can loop one from their hand, which lets you use White Knight to more efficiency. And then our last card from our deck, Ritual Sanctuary, which is the #1 target for Cosmics in the deck. And not only that, it's the #1 grind game tool in this entire deck, and you can infinite resources and pretty much do anything. And this deck has insane resourcing. As next, standard, Deep Sea Prima Donna. If you send her to the graveyard, you can add 1 banished card. This also includes face down cards from your banished pile to your deck. Yeah, and you shuffle it into the deck. Not to the hand, but into the deck. It's like Omega, but only for a graveyard. And she triggers on send. So that technically is a possibility. And you can also target opponent's cards if that ever matters. I guess you can like get rid of an Omega. Those are the ritual monsters. You could play Fleur, Baron the Fleur. 1 Titaniclad, 2 Apkalon, triple ins. And then this is all obvious because this belongs to the playstyle of the Dogmatika ritual monsters. Almirage, so Diviner, can still extend into Dogmatika combo. Lina, because she is a great recovery tool. Celine, because she is like the turn 3 play of the century. And our final card, a generic Ring 4. I chose Daigotsu Emerald because this deck loves to go through its extra deck way too fast for its own good. And this allows you to no punish, just shuffle 3 back and actually even draw a card. So I guess that is a good possibility. For our side deck, I'm still working on it. I'm very unsure. I didn't play the format too much yet. Tikaboo, you could technically play this, but I am going to cut this right now. But what you have to play is triple evenly. I think this card just is too busted because this is Imperial Order and your opponent cannot play around it. Then triple Lancea. Then I am theory crafting on this. Triple Phantasme. A lot of decks are returning back to Link Summoning. So Phantasme is actually a pretty great card because it fixes your hand. Sadly, it turns off Gamma, but who cares? If you draw a TTT and this is there, this is really good against PK because you can negate Fog Blades and you don't care about Psyfog anyways. And then Triple Twin. That is my suggested side deck. You can change it up if something changes. You could play, like, for example, Denko Seka, which will help you a lot in the Eldritch matchup, but I decided just, okay, if they summon a 3500 Golden Lord and they somehow don't manage to throw that advantage, then they deserve to win, I guess, because they played the better deck. In all honesty, just skip on Eldritch matchup and play against everything else. Eldritch is not fun to play against. Otherwise, if you're confident that you don't face Eldritch, I think this is a pretty good tournament deck. Anyways, I hope you guys enjoyed the deck profile. I forgot to count the cards. I think this time it's over 40. Yeah, we're 41 cards. So this is a 41 card deck. Maybe you can cut something like an additional TTT, and then you'll be fine. So anyways, I'll try to test around a little bit more. There's some things that still feel a little bit awkward about the deck, specifically the fact that pre-prep is not getting enough value for me. As in, it's not a one-card play, even though the card itself is so powerful. But all in all, I think this deck is really fun, and I'm going to test around with it. And I had a lot of fun finally outing Blue Eyes and other big monsters from the main deck just by battle because of the new support. And also, it's always fun to play Dogmatika cards because Dogmatika cards just annoy your opponent so much. Anyways, I hope you guys enjoyed. See ya.